Hi, I'm Kat and you already know the drill. I have for you a true crime case today. I will also be doing my makeup at the same time and I also have a word in Romanian. So let's just start with the word. Execuție. 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 Well done, guys. You just said execution. And I will start today with the most heartbreaking statement from Clermont County Prosecutor David Gust. Quote, "They, the medics, held these children knowing there was nothing they could do. One of the most monstrous, craven, cowardly acts that will ever be our misfortune of seeing." End of quote. On June 15, 2023, Chad Duerman was arrested at his Monroe Township, Ohio home after his 3 children were found dead. This case is actually very new, so everything that I am saying is alleged and it's all from news articles that I found online. The incident was reported just before 4:15 p.m. on 15th of June, just a couple of days ago, at a home owned by Chad, located near the corner of Laurel Lindell Road and Clermontville Laurel Road. The children's mother was the one who called 911 and she screamed that her babies had been shot. 3 minutes later, a separate caller who drove by the scene called 911 and reported seeing a young girl running down the road screaming that her father was killing everyone. The girl's identity was not revealed by the police, but they did say that the girl is safe. However, she is Chad's stepdaughter who ran out of the house and she alerted nearby neighbors to call 911. I did manage actually to get her name from an article, but I won't be mentioning it just because, you know, she's underage and I also don't want to stir anything more. I think that the family is going through so much as it is, so I don't want to add any more distress to them. Court records released on Friday, 16th of June, say that deputies responded to a report of a male killing everyone in the house. Deputies came in contact with Chad, who lives at the address, and he was identified by witnesses as being the suspect. When they arrived, deputies found Chad's children, the 3 young boys aged 3, 4 and 7, unresponsive on the ground lying in the yard. They tried life-saving measures until Monroe Fire EMS arrived. Sadly, all 3 children died at the scene. The Clermont County Coroner arrived at the scene at around 7:30 p.m. The bodies of the boys were then taken to the Hamilton County Coroner's Office for autopsies. Chad was found sitting on the front porch outside the home with a rifle next to him and he was arrested. He didn't seem agitated and he didn't really resist arrest when officers grabbed him and forced him to the ground to handcuff him. Chad was taken into custody and he was charged with 3 counts of aggravated murder. Hey, I'm just jumping here really quickly because I just want to tell you that you might notice under my videos from now on the thanks icon with the little heart there. So this means that once you click on the thanks icon, you get to give your thanks to me for creating the content and the videos that I am creating. Thanks to you guys, to all your support and you subscribing to my channel, I was accepted in the first stage of the YouTube partner program. So this also includes super chat and super stickers in premieres and live videos. So that's all it's about really. I just so we cover all the bases. I don't want you to have any questions. Also, if there is any donation that you give me, those donations will go towards me improving my videos, my content, my equipment, the products I use for my makeup. Everything goes towards the performance and the overall quality of the videos that I create. But there is no need for you to donate. I'm just explaining to you in case you might be wondering what are all those icons. Okay, back to the video.
Push your hands now. Stand up. Stand up. Stand over 21. It's in there.
There's confirmed that there's people that need first aid, and that's the shooter. He's not complying. They need to take care of the victim. They have to shoot him and shoot him.
Man, I ain't trying to hurt nobody. I'm completely sober. Never did drugs a day in my life.
21. Get the EMS over here.
Can you tell how many people have been shot?
I think 2 children
Okay. All right. I need. What was
that
your
I've seen.
There's a girl running down the street saying that her stepfather is killing everyone in her family.
And what did the female say to you?
And she says that her stepfather is killing everybody in her house. I did. I'm on the phone with them right now.
Did she say how or what was happening?
I asked her to get in the car with me, and she said she couldn't leave her family.
Oh my gosh.
The boy's 34-year-old mother, Chad's wife, was also found outside the home when deputies arrived. Desperate to save her children, she tried taking the rifle away from Chad, but she sadly didn't manage to save them. She sustained a gunshot wound to the hand and she was rushed to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. The sheriff personally went to the hospital where the children's mother was to let her know that her 3 sons were sadly deceased. Just a few days before Chad shot his children, he actually updated his Facebook profile with a photo of the kids. In court on Friday morning during arraignment, Chad Duerman confessed to what he did. Court documents said that he confessed to planning and carrying out the attack on his children for several months. Prosecutor said that all 3 of the children were shot execution style with a rifle. He lined his 3 sons up in the yard ready to shoot them. One of the boys was actually able to run away into a nearby field, but his father chased him and dragged him back to the house before shooting him. County Prosecutor Mark Ticalvi said, quote, "I've been a lawyer for 35 years. This is by far the most sickening, horrifying crime I have seen. I can only imagine the terror these little boys felt and experienced. The mother saw this. You can imagine the immense trauma and terror she experienced, and we will do the utmost that this defendant never sees the light of day again." End of quote. Chad is currently being held in the Claremont County Jail. He was initially booked without bond, but after his arraignment, the defense asked for a $75,000 bond, saying that Chad was employed and has co-signers. But prosecutors asked for the highest bond that they've ever asked a judge to give. $20 million, and Judge J.C. Nagel granted the $20 million.
32-year-old Chad Dorman admitted to the slayings and will be in court next week for his preliminary hearing. Prosecutors say that Dorman planned out the execution-style murders of his 3, 4, and 7-year-old sons for months.
The man that every day they woke up looking to for protection, love, guidance in all things. Man they trust more than any other person on earth. Person they rely upon to keep them safe from harm. He was their world, he was their guardian, and he executed them in cold blood. We know that from his admission. By that same admission, Judge, he has committed one of the most monstrous, craven, cowardly acts that will ever be our misfortune to see. To make things even more disturbing, Judge, this was no haphazard act. Again, by his own admission, he planned the events of this day.
This is disgusting.
Keith Duerman, who is the father of 32-year-old Chad and the grandfather of the children, said that he thinks his son just snapped. His eyes looked hollow inside, and it wasn't Chad standing at the arraignment. That wasn't him. Keith has no exact explanation for what happened, calling the triple murder just terrible. He doesn't know whether it was financial, mental, or perhaps work-related. Keith wants to be able to speak with his son, but he's not allowed to. Keith insisted that Chad had no history of mental illness or strange behavior or a criminal record. But it turns out that Chad was actually charged with domestic violence in 2010 for allegedly choking his father Keith, but the case was dismissed by the judge. It seems that it was dismissed after Keith failed to appear as the prosecution witness. Keith was 46 years old at the time the charges were filed in July 2010. Chad pleaded not guilty to domestic violence on July 26, 2010, and the case was dismissed on August 26th of that year. But Keith said that the charge was just a misunderstanding, it was resolved and there was nothing to it. According to his father, Chad is not that kind of person. Keith had just visited Chad the previous week and everything just seemed fine, he was okay, he was just a fun-loving guy. Even though Keith is angry with what Chad did, he called him a super father, remembering him laughing and joking with his sons. However, one neighbor who actually saw the children's bodies on the ground said that Chad was unstable and generally mean. He was yelling at his wife every day, downgrading her, downgrading the kids, and if they didn't do what he said, he would get very angry. The neighbor said that he saw it firsthand, but he never actually thought that Chad would do what he did.
He was very angry. Every day yelling at his wife, dogging her, downgrading the kids, just very angry. And if they didn't do what he said, and I've seen it firsthand, but I never thought that he would do that.
He was an asshole.
You felt like he was just angry, generally speaking.
He was every day. Heard him. There wasn't a day he didn't yell at his wife and kids out there.
What would he yell?
Okay. He was just angry, yelling at her all the time, treating her like.
So when you look at that house now, what do you see?
I still see the babies sitting in the yard, playing in the yard. One was right there by the tree, right by the road, not even 20 feet from the road right there. This is where that dude lay in. Laid the one up there right beside that silver truck to the left of the tire, about 5 foot. That's all I see every time I come out here. For any man to even think about doing that is just... no words can explain it.
On the day of the shootings, neighbors reported hearing several shots fired in what they said is usually a quiet neighborhood. Alexis Punamore said that she was sitting in the garage and all of a sudden she heard boom boom and then 5 more times, and she was like, that's 7 shots. Chad Uerman is set to reappear in court on June 26th at 1 p.m. for a preliminary hearing. Court records don't reveal a motive for what Chad did, and Sheriff Steve Leahy declined to give that information out due to the ongoing criminal case and prosecution. They want to make sure that nothing they say or do impacts the prosecution. The sheriff's office also said that more charges could be added. According to Ohio law, those convicted of aggravated murder in Ohio shall suffer death or be imprisoned for life. David Gust called the killings the worst crime he'd ever seen. Quote, "This was the man that every day they woke up looking to for protection, love and guidance in all things. He was their world. He was their guardian and he executed them in cold blood." End of quote. He also said that the sheriff's office, first responders and the community at large have been left traumatized. The deputies who arrived at the scene attempted to perform CPR on the boys. Quote, "They held these children knowing there was nothing they could do. How do you want to see that sort of abomination?" End of quote. Clermont County Prosecutor Mark DeColvay wouldn't say if he would seek the death penalty in this case, but he did say that all possible charges were being reviewed.
Now, all 4 Dorman children were full-time members of local baseball teams, and their death have, as you can imagine, rocked the small community in Ohio where they live, leaving their coaches, reminiscing about the 3 boys who were murdered and about their sister who wants to keep playing to honor their memories. Jessica Hart with our affiliate WCPO in Cincinnati reports.
In New Richmond, Ohio,
it's that small town feel.
the people who live here feel each other's pain.
They're always there wrapping their arms around everyone when there's a tragedy.
Tragedy hit the small town last week. 32-year-old Chad Dorman confessed to killing his 3 sons, aged 3, 4, and 7.
And they're just devastated, you know, and they're trying to heal, but that's going to be a very long process.
For the 2 eldest boys and their older sister, these fields felt like a second home.
He just like hitting.
Tony Brock coached the 4-year-old in T-ball.
Number 7, he was a funny kid. He always liked to joke around, kind of like his older brother. He would always, give you dirty looks. We'd play little games.
Messing around like his big brother.
There would be times where in the middle of the game, in between pitches, he'd pick up a little bit of dirt and throw it at the umpire. And I'd have to get on him and say, hey, pay attention. He'd just look up and give me this little smirk.
Dwayne Kuhn coached the 7-year-old for 3 years. Number 99.
I saw him in the future being a pitcher, just his attitude and his tenacity out there on the field.
Striking out his competitors, like his big sister.
It's really cool to watch someone that has the drive to want to continue to pitch.
Carrie Lally has coached the Dorman boys' big sister for 7 years. As hard as the past few days have been, the boys' sister has found the strength to return to the circle.
Our last week of softball, we were not going to participate in the tournament, but she reached out and wants to play and honor her brothers. So we're making it happen, and we will be playing in the tournament this weekend.
Playing for her 3 brothers as they watch from above.
Oh my gosh, how heartbreaking. Let's talk some more about this case. Now I want to bring back in my guests to chat with me, criminal defense attorney Greg Isaacs and former special agent with the Department of Homeland Security, Dr. Jason Piccolo. I think one of the most disgusting facts about this, and one very helpful fact for prosecutors, is that one of the boys tried to get away and Chad Dorman brought him back. Let's listen to the chief prosecutor in the county talking about this.
We know that one of the boys was able to flee into a field near the home. And again, we know from his admission, father hunted that boy down, drug him back to the property, and executed him in front of witnesses.
So Greg Isaacs, for anybody who's saying, oh, this guy must have just snapped and just suddenly decided to do this, maybe he's insane at the time, that takes a lot of thought to go and get the child who just ran away to try to save his life and bring him back and then make the decision to turn him around and put the rifle to his head. Isn't that going to be a problem for the defense, Greg?
Absolutely, and the prosecution did a good job of painting a picture that is going to be devastating for the defense. They used words like planning. We as defense lawyers hate when prosecutors talk about planning, because planning means premeditation, first-degree homicide. The fact that he focused on bringing one of the children back really flies in the face of a potential insanity defense, whether he was suffering from a mental disease or defect. So he could not control his conduct to the requirements of the law. That has to be substantial. So you want to prove that this individual had control through this very horrific episode. But the prosecution, while talking about the heinous nature of this triple homicide, also was laying the framework for premeditation, laying the framework to debunk future insanity defense. So it'll be interesting how this plays out. But if I was a defense lawyer, I would be on the phone with experts as we speak.
Excellent analysis from you, Greg. Thank you kindly for that. I've got a clip from the middle school counselor who knows the surviving daughter talking about what she's going to be going through. Take a listen.
She's full of life, and I just can't imagine the trauma and everything that she's going to have to work through in these next few weeks, months, years.
Oh, my gosh, the poor daughter, and then the mother, too, who's a victim in this to a degree. We know that she was shot in the hand. Dr. Jason, I have so many questions about this, because if she was present, wasn't she able to rescue them even further or do something to try to, she must have intervened to a degree, right, if she shot in the hand. I'm so curious where she was physically, how this was able to happen with her on the premises.
You know, fear. You know, when you're dealing with a firearm, you have no idea what's going to happen to you. I know me as a parent, if something happened to my children in front of me, I would do everything I can to protect them. But you never know what's going to happen when a firearm is pointed at you and your life is at stake. So I don't know. I mean, this is a tough one. She does have what appears to be a defensive wound where she's trying to stop a bullet. But how do you know, when he goes and retrieves another child to kill them, how is she not involved there? So I don't understand how this is going to go down.
That's exactly what I'm wondering. And there's not a lot of information about her. I've been looking and scouring and trying to find anything in the way of reporting on this. And perhaps we'll get some information on Monday, because on Monday, this guy has his preliminary hearing. He's being held on $20 million bond. And next week, 1 p.m. Eastern is the time. Ohio does allow cameras in court, which is fantastic. And Ohio also still is a death penalty state, although there have been some attempts to abolish the death penalty there. Nothing has been successful as of yet, and prosecutors have been asked, but they're not committing as to whether or not they're going to seek it here. But I would say this is certainly a case ripe for that.
Although Chad's dad is defending him and trying to, you know, find excuses for what he did, this is just a no in my book. There's absolutely no excuse for that. He executed his children, his own flesh and blood. He lined them up and shot them one by one. I can't even imagine the horror of those children as they saw their other sibling being shot, and they knew what's coming for them as well. And Chad planned this. He planned his children's execution, and the mother who witnessed her children being killed in front of her, trying to defend them, to no avail. A motive was not released, but again I'm saying there is absolutely no justification for this. But anyway, a lot of the court documents are actually redacted, so there is not much information published, which kind of, you know, if you think about it, it does make sense considering that they have to get ready for trial and for prosecution, and they need to preserve all potential evidence and information that they have to make sure they get a conviction and they bring justice to those poor boys. And before I end the video, I just want to tell you that a GoFundMe has been set up for the mother to help pay for the funeral costs of the children. So if you would like to donate, the link will be in the description under this video, so you can go and check it out. And it was a very short video, I know, but this is a very recent case. It just happened a couple of days ago, so everything is still developing. But if there is anything major changing, I will try my best to give you an update on the case. For now, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, stay safe. I will see you in the next video, and also please don't forget the GoFundMe, the link will be in the description under this video, and if I don't forget, I'm going to add it also as a pinned comment under the video. Thanks again, take care, bye!